Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
A reason to buy jewelry? You don't need one. Gift yourself the modern classic piece you've always had your eye on at BlueNile.com. Blue Nile's collection of high-quality diamond jewelry is ready to complement your every look. Show off your elegant taste with a pair of diamond studs, or serve up brilliant style in a traditional tennis bracelet, shipped right to your door. Reward yourself with a piece you've always wanted at BlueNile.com. That's BlueNile.com.
If you wear glasses, you know how hard it is to find the perfect pair. But step into a Warby Parker store, and you'll see it doesn't have to be. Not only will you find a great selection of frames, you'll also meet helpful advisors and friendly optometrists. Yep, many Warby Parker locations also offer eye exams. So the next time you need glasses, sunglasses, contact lenses, or a new prescription, you know where to look. To find a Warby Parker store near you or to book an eye exam, head over to warbyparker.com/retail.
Picture this. You're in the garage, hands covered in grease, just finished up tuning your engine with a part you found on eBay. And you realize, you know what? I could also use new brakes. So where do you go next? Back to eBay. And you've got eBay Guaranteed Fit. You order a part, and if it doesn't fit, send it back. Simple as that. So when you dive into your next car project, start with eBay. All the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love.
This is the Daily Tech News for Thursday, March 20th, 2025. We tell you what you need to know, follow up on the context of those stories, and help each other understand.
Today, Roger Chang tells us about the CPU landscape and a little something from your emails.
A little something, something. I'm Jason Howell.
I'm Huyen Dao.
Let's start with what you need to know with the big story. Huawei announced a new smartphone for the Chinese market. It's called the Pura X. That represents a different take on the foldable clamshell concept. The smartphone has a 6.3-inch internal display. That sounds normal-ish, right, when unfolded. But it has a very unique 16:10 aspect ratio. That ratio can commonly be found on tablets. You'll find them on laptops sometimes, but rarely on smartphones, let alone a clamshell flip phone style. In fact, I did a little poking around, like what other smartphones have done this before. I could only find the original Samsung Galaxy Note with that same ratio. So maybe there are others and I didn't find them, but Galaxy Note, from that point on, they switched to the more common 16:9. So for whatever that's worth, maybe they learned something in the process. But the 3.5-inch square cover display that sits on the outside has a triple camera array on top of it. And there's a whole bunch of bells and whistles for the phone as well. This is a premium smartphone after all. The Pura X is the company's first device to run solely on Huawei's Android-less Harmony OS Next operating system. The company has really leaned into the severe limitations that they've faced with U.S. sanctions that happened a number of years ago. I think 2019 is when that kind of kicked into gear. The software includes Huawei's Harmony Intelligence. Get it? Apple Intelligence, Harmony Intelligence, including its AI assistant. And I'm sure I'm mispronouncing it. Xiaoyi is how I would read that, which is powered by their Pangu LLM. Also enhanced by China's DeepSeek model. And here's where Huawei claims that it's superhuman. They basically say that their AI can convey human-like emotions and detect users' moods. We'd have to see about that by using it. Huawei has plans to replace Android on its mobile devices, as it's doing here, and Windows operating system on PCs. And they're doing that by way of Harmony OS Next. They actually have a notebook set to launch in May. They've released, a trifold last month. Huawei doing a lot of stuff in hardware right now. And just real quick before we kind of talk about the device and the strategy and everything, Huawei did take this announcement to also share that the company has seen a 22% increase in revenue this past year, 25% growth in its government and enterprise sector in China. So Huawei's still hanging in there after those sanctions went into place. Are you surprised to see the mobile efforts kind of still kicking? I know at the time when it all happened, it was like, oh my goodness, they're done, but obviously not.
Obviously not. And they've definitely tried to carve out their own niche in the Chinese market. Of course, we talk about Android all the time on our podcast, Android Faithful, but it's so interesting not just to see that Huawei has survived, but they're trying to separate themselves from Android by going Harmony OS and apparently from Windows as well. So not only are they surviving, they're like, we're going to do it our way, y'all. And it just seems really interesting that they are touting their growth, their kind of recent growth as well. So yeah, I'm surprised, but the Chinese smartphone market is just so fascinating, especially since we don't get a great look, just kind of a really in-depth look into it. So yeah, I don't know. There's a resilience and a toughness to a lot of these Chinese companies, and a determination to really make a market for themselves, especially in China where they do have such a wide audience to accept things like this crazy new phone.
Yeah, I mean, it's a different kind of layout, right? The 16:10 aspect ratio, I think you see it on laptops a lot because, or more so obviously than smartphones, because it's a much better layout or dimension for things like multitasking and everything. And I'm just kind of curious about the fact that we have hardly seen this on smartphones. Like when I went searching and found, and mind you, there could be other phones out there that have done this, but in my, searching this morning, it really was just the original Samsung Galaxy Note that had that. I wish I had it in hand. I don't have that one to kind of take a look at, but I just wonder, so much innovation has happened over the last 10, 15 years in smartphones. Why is this a ratio that we haven't seen in smartphones? What am I missing as far as like why it doesn't work on mobile? And why does Huawei think that it will work with this?
I don't know, because I think it's an aspect ratio that we all love. It's not, it hasn't been in phones, but we've certainly seen tablets with this ratio. And I feel like very love tablets as well. Yeah. It's a nice read. It's like a very nice reading, like very specifically reading. Like I really think of like the Kindles when I look at this form factor. It really does look like that, and that is a proven form factor, just not specifically for phones, but for tablets. And maybe Huawei's just like, hey, what people really do like is they genuinely like reading devices, and maybe we can make something that is portable by making it foldable and really tap into, maybe eat some of that Fire Kindle market a little bit for folks. And I think that maybe that's another thing too, is that I know that especially as like a developer, a lot of what we hear often in terms of like devices, and whether that's hardware functionality or software functionality, a lot of like the premier use cases have been media consumption, right? So video, like very specifically video. Of course, vertical video is now a thing. But I feel like, that has been like the premier use case. And maybe there's something to be said that not everybody is watching movies or, content, TV, whatever on their phones. Maybe they're just trying to tap into a different market. I don't know if it's like an older market, just a differently interested market, but I like it. And it's also interesting. This form factor is a little different. I mean, we've seen the Flip before, but normally when you have a foldable phone of any style, book or clamshell, the orientation of both the outer and the inner screen are the same. So like say for a flip, when you open the screen, the outer screen and the inner screen are facing the same direction up. For this Pura X, and the reports that said vertical hinge, and I thought maybe it would look like this, but I wasn't sure because like my brain couldn't quite grok it. But it's like when it's folded, it looks like a little book. But when you open it up, you do have to rotate it to get into the proper orientation, where it's more like a Fire Kindle portrait style thing. So I think that's also fascinating as well.
Yeah, that is very interesting. Yeah, and that outer display just being a total perfect square. Yeah, it's an intriguing device. Of course, we won't get it here in the U.S.
Nope.
Aren't meant to. But it is a pricey device, 7,499 yuan, which, I don't off the top of my head, just see the world through that currency. But converted, it comes to around $1,037 here in the US. So, and that's starting. So this is meant to be a premium device. And who knows, maybe Huawei will start a trend for squatty foldables from other manufacturers like Samsung. Who knows what we'll see.
I like it. I like it a lot. We always like innovation around here.
Yeah.
Well, DTNS is made possible by you, the listener, thanks to That Charlie Dude, Justin Zellers, and Carmine Bailey. And welcome new patron, Lara.
Oh, right on. Welcome. Good to have you here. Woo. There's more we need to know today. Let's get right to it with the briefs.
Picture this. You're in the garage, hands covered in grease, just finished up tuning your engine with a part you found on eBay, and you realize, you know what? I could also use new brakes. So where do you go next? Back to eBay. You can find anything there. It's unreal. Wipers, headlights, even cold air intakes. It's all there. And you've got eBay Guaranteed Fit. You order a part, and if it doesn't fit, send it back. Simple as that. Look, DIY fixes can be major. Doesn't matter if it's just maintenance or a major mod. You got it, especially when things are guaranteed to fit. So when you dive into your next car project, start with eBay. All the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love. Trust isn't just earned, it's demanded. Whether you're a startup founder navigating your first audit or a seasoned security professional scaling your GRC program, proving your commitment to security has never been more critical or more complex. That's where Vanta comes in. Businesses use Vanta to establish trust by automating compliance needs across over 35 frameworks, like SOC 2 and ISO 27001, centralize security workflows, complete questionnaires up to 5 times faster, and proactively manage vendor risk. Vanta not only saves you time, it can also save you money. A new IDC white paper found that Vanta customers achieve $535,000 per year in benefits, and the platform pays for itself in just 3 months. Join over 9,000 global companies like Atlassian, Quora, and Factory who use Vanta to manage risk and prove security in real time. For a limited time, our audience gets $1,000 off Vanta at vanta.com/DTNS. That's VANTA.com/DTNS for $1,000 off.
Everyone's talking about AI these days, right? It's changing how we work, how we learn, and how we interact with the world at a tremendous pace. It's a gold rush at the frontier, but if we're not careful, we might end up in a heap of trouble. Red Hat's podcast, this season on Compiler, is diving deep into how AI is reshaping the world we live in. From the ethics of automation to the code behind machine learning, it's breaking down the requirements, capabilities, and implications of using AI. Check out the new season of Compiler, an original podcast from Red Hat. Subscribe now wherever you get your podcasts.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Getting engaged can be stressful. Getting the right ring won't be. At BlueNile.com. The jewelers at BlueNile.com have sparkle down to a science with beautiful lab-grown diamonds worthy of your most brilliant moments. Their lab-grown diamonds are independently graded and guaranteed identical to natural diamonds and ready to ship to your door. Get $50 off your purchase of $500 or more with code LISTEN at BlueNile.com. That's BlueNile.com, code LISTEN for $50 off.
Well, SoftBank is set to buy Ampere Computing, makers of ARM-based cloud-native CPUs for data centers. In a $6.5 billion cash deal, Ampere will continue to operate under its own name and has plans on its roadmap to launch Ampere 1 CPUs with 256 cores in 2025. SoftBank aims to use Ampere's chips in its future AI-focused cloud data centers, including its Stargate project. The deal is expected to close in late 2025 after some regulatory approval.
Yeah, seeing some noise about this. I don't know that I have a whole lot to share on this deal, but I don't know. Go SoftBank, I suppose. Open source newsletter platform Ghost, which we actually use for Android Faithful, so I'm very familiar with Ghost, is officially connected to the Fediverse. After first announcing its work behind the scenes close to a year ago, they said they were going to do this. This enables publishers using the platform to share their posts with a wider open social web out there, with users on federated apps able to post, like, reply, and repost that content. So really great for visibility. All Ghost Pro sites can activate the new beta feature, which will continue to be developed as they head toward a final release with Ghost 6.0.
I love that. The Fediverse, people are very, very much into broadening and opening the SNS social media world. Hey,
I mean, and especially right now, this is a moment where people are more and more open to it. So yeah,
absolutely. Good on you, Ghost. Well, Ookla analyzed and compared performance of Apple's in-house C1 modem that's found in the new iPhone 16e to the Qualcomm modem that Apple has used in previous devices, including the iPhone 16, and results were mixed. The 16e offered better worst-case speeds and higher upload speeds on AT&T and Verizon, while underperforming on T-Mobile's 5G network. The iPhone 16 did still reign supreme in top-end download speeds across all U.S. carriers. Apple is expected to address these limitations as it continues to iterate on the C1 with future models.
Yeah, can't be perfect right out of the gate, but still not too shabby, I think. OpenAI launched a more powerful version of its reasoning AI model called O1 Pro to its developer API, but it is pricey. $150 per million tokens. That's twice the cost of GPT 4.5, 10 times the cost of O1. OpenAI says the new model gives, quote, consistently better responses. Well, that's comforting to the hardest problems, and hopes that fact alone essentially will justify the cost increase for developers. So, if you want your responses to be better, then you'll pay the price.
Are they 10 times better?
10 times better-ish. Yeah.
Oh gosh. Well, that's it. That's that pro pricing that, all of us publisher types like. Anyway, Meta is launching its AI assistant across 41 European countries, including EU member states and 21 overseas European territories this week after facing delays related to European regulatory hurdles. Meta had withheld release of its Llama models, as well as pausing training of its LLMs using content from European Facebook and Instagram users. Now, the AI assistant will integrate into Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and Messenger with support for 6 regional languages. Meta plans to expand the feature set to match those available in the US.
Here comes the Meta AI. Watch yourselves.
Verizon announced its support for satellite text messaging coming first to Google's Pixel 9 and Samsung's Galaxy S25 lineup. Verizon has partnered with AST Space Mobile to enable the feature that works when those phones are, quote, outside the reach of terrestrial cellular networks. The new feature will continue to roll out to supported devices over the following 2 weeks.
Yeah, pretty cool. Cool feature that I think deserves to be on more smartphones. So I'm happy to see that. I think it's a really nice way to fill in the gaps, so to speak. Media streaming software Plex is increasing subscription prices for the first time in a decade. Its premium Plex Pass service is jumping to $7 per month, a $2 increase, while the yearly subscription price increases from $40 to $70 annually. If you want to purchase a lifetime pass, which you might want to do, you'll now pay more than twice as much to do that, with an increase from $120 to $250 for the lifetime pass. Now, here's your get out of jail free card. The changes happen on April 29th, so you still have time to lock in those lower prices, but you got to do it fast because, that's a little more than a month away.
Oof. Well, Discord users will soon see third-party ads on its mobile platform after first showing ads for video quests to PCs and consoles last year. The ads will appear at the bottom of the screen with a quest bar that can be tapped to, quote, accept the quest and show the full screen ad. Mobile users will be able to hide in-app promotions as well as opt out of personalized promotions, mirroring that capability on other platforms. All of this is taking place as Discord prepares for its IPO launch.
Mm-hmm. And, it's ads, so people aren't happy. Even though it's kind of like tucked out of the way, and you opt into the experience, it's ads where there were no ads before.
Accept the quest to watch these ads. Please, pretty please. Well, those are the essentials for today. Let's dive a little deeper in the ongoing stories and follow up.
All right. The last of the big CPU announcements has been made. Now we know the current landscape for Intel and AMD. So Tom got Roger Chang to break down what's been announced, what the differences are, and what it means for consumers.
Roger, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for letting me come on.
If anyone doesn't realize, Roger is producer of not only this show, but DTNS Live, and one of the people that makes all this stuff happen. But you also follow the chip industry really closely, and I always learn from you about chip stuff. So we want to break down what the major announcements have been, because there have been so many over the past year. Thanks for giving us a little bit of a overview of what's happening. Let's start there.
Yeah, so at CES, AMD made a slew of announcements for both desktop as well as mobile processors. They announced a new version of their existing Granite Ridge desktop processors, which use the kind of 3D vertical cache for their Granite Ridge processors that just came out, the 9950X3D and the 9900X3D. And both of these are basically kind of souped up versions of existing processors with more cache on the die of the processors. And what this essentially means is that they have higher performance. Now, the last time AMD did this, the only performance boost people saw were with games. So if you were working in a productivity or creative application, you didn't see that much of a boost. But with at least with the most recent reviews I've seen with these two processors, the boost is across the board, regardless of application. So it's not just game specific. It's if you use Adobe Creative Cloud, it's if you use DaVinci, it's if you use any other kind of application. So
that's good to know. That's a good thing to keep track of.
And now they also announced Fire Range, which is essentially the same chipset or the same chips, but cut down for mobile use. So if you're looking for a
mobile, meaning laptop, not phone, right?
Yeah, not phone, for laptop use. Yeah. In other words, they've cut these designs down to fit and work within the thermal and size restrictions of a laptop. Okay. And early reports seem to say that they're really good. But they're also very, I mean, they're around 95 watts, so they're not something that you want to use if you're looking for a laptop that works all day on a single charge.
Sure.
It's not that kind of thing.
You're going to have to keep plugged in.
This is for gamers, and this is for people who work in high creative applications or like CAD/CAD where you're
you want to take your editing rig with you because it's a laptop, but once you get there, you're probably going to want to plug it in.
Correct. So, 9955HX3D, top of the line, followed by the 9955HX and the 9850X. Anything with the Ryzen 9, 99, and 98 with H or HX at the end of it typically implies mobile, and these are really
useful to know for people who don't follow that. Yeah,
I will say this. AMD's nomenclature has shifted over the past 6 years. So at this point, you can kind of flip a quarter to figure out what they actually mean. And it's actually kind of a thing that is a joke among reviewers and enthusiasts. Sure. That the
current range, if you see the H or HX, that means laptop.
Yes. Next, they announced the AI Max series, Strix Halo. Now, this is sort of their Uber version of their Strix Point process, mobile AI processors AMD released last year. Now, what's so important about this is AMD wasn't just content on aiming for Intel; it was aiming for Apple's M4 silicon as well. So they see them as a competitor. So they were using them as sort of a benchmark in which to compete with their processors. Now, what's interesting is all of these chips that are under this the Strix Halo have at least 50 peak tops. That means there are 10 more tops than required by Microsoft's Windows Copilot in order to use Copilot.
That's for AI, large language model, that kind of stuff, neural processing.
Yeah. Anything on that level within Windows 11 with using Copilot, this has the grunt to do it. What's also interesting is that the top of the range, the AI Max Plus 395 has 40 graphics cores based on the RDNA 3.5. What this essentially means is it has a very powerful inbuilt integrated GPU. Now, laptops made with this chip will probably not come with a discrete GPU. I don't even think it's possible to integrate it because the architecture. But if you're looking for an all-in-one solution, AI, but also, and again, early reports look like the integrated GPU on these matches the 4060. Mobile 4060, not the desktop, but the mobile 4060 and the mobile RTX 4070 in terms
From
of
NVIDIA.
performance.
It matches NVIDIA's GPU.
NVIDIA's discrete mobile GPUs. That's great. I mean, because it's on a single chip.
Even though that's the last generation.
It is.
We're talking about a single chip. We're talking about an integrated GPU here.
This is a single chip. Everyone's sort of trying to do on the mobile side what Apple's already done with the M.
Put it all on one die.
On one die. It seems to make the most sense, both financially as well as design-wise. Now, for those who don't have deep pockets, AMD also announced the Ryzen AI 300 series of mobile AI processors. Now, all these processors, there's only two that they announced so far, the Ryzen AI 7 and the Ryzen AI 5. They both come with 50 peak tops. So, again, they are Copilot certified, ready to go if that's something you're looking for in a laptop, and my business needs it or my job needs this.
And even other models can run well with that kind of local processor power for Gemini or Llama or anything else.
If you're skilled enough and if you need to run something locally, that's it. The other option is to buy a desktop PC and a $1,200 GPU in order to run it. They also announced a Ryzen 200 series entry-level processors. They top out at 16 tops, and they're based on the older Zen 4 architecture. All the other processors I've just mentioned are based on AMD's newer Zen 5 chip architecture. So the Ryzen 200 series is more of a budget level, entry level chip.
So you're saving some money. If you see the 200, you're saving some money, but you are getting the older architecture.
You're getting older architecture, and you won't get the AI performance that you would get with the other newer chips. And then finally, there's the Ryzen Z2. Now these are the mobile processors that have been so popular with gaming handheld PC makers because it is a system on a chip. They announced three new ones, the Z2 Extreme, the Z2, and the Z2 Go. The Z2 Extreme has 8-core, 16 threads, 5 gigahertz of max boost, and 24 megs of cache, but has 16 graphics cores. It's definitely a step up from what's already been out there, but early tests have said that it's not as big of an uplift as you would expect from this architecture. But again, this is targeted more for handheld PC makers, people who make like a Legion or something along the
like a Steam Deck or something.
Like a Steam Deck.
Yeah,
so consider that form factor.
You're not buying that in your laptop.
Exactly. So, but if you are in the market for a handheld gaming PC, these are the chips that are most likely going to be in them.
All right, that's AMD. We're almost out of time.
Oh, sorry. So
what's left with Intel?
Intel announced new mobile models for their Arrow Lake mobile lineup. Last year they did Lunar Lake and they did Arrow Lake Desktop. They had unveiled Ultra 9 285H and a bunch of new Intel Core Ultra processors down the line. So far, the reviews have been mixed. This is an uplift from the previous Meteor Lake series of chips, and Arrow Lake is the latest chip architecture from Intel, and the early results from the desktops were mixed. The performance uplift over the previous generation Raptor Lake wasn't high. In some cases, it was actually lower, although the power efficiency was definitely increased. So that means you could get similar performance for a lot less energy use. Again, for the Intel side, even AMD, which perennially has sort of struggled with Intel in the mobile space, has actually outperformed Intel's chips here. Intel just released early shots of the Panther Lake, their upcoming mobile chip that they're going to release later this year. Too early to tell if that will be like a chip to look out for. But as it is right now, you are looking at a set of very functional but very low tops. So if you're looking for a high-performance Intel chip, you're looking at somewhere between 13 and maybe 15 tops. If you want to go with their less high-end but more toppy processors, you're going to be looking at a 285H. So the HX is sort of their mobile but high performance. You get faster speeds, more cores, more threads, but you get lower tops. In other words, they move some of that die space for performance by shrinking down the NPU capabilities. But
sounds like the shortcut is buy AMD if you can.
I mean, at this point, I mean, if you're buying a new PC, you're starting with a new motherboard, or you're with a laptop, it actually makes sense to go with AMD at this point, at this juncture. Right now, AMD is still sorting out their 18A process. If they can get that up to speed and in volume, maybe they can make a mark with Panther Lake. Right now, I think Intel is just keeping up, but it's not exceeding the pack.
Roger, thank you so much for laying out the landscape for us. I appreciate it, man.
Thank you for having me on.
Roger's got more details if you want them in his regular column on our Patreon, out now at patreon.com/DTNS.
If you have feedback about anything that gets brought up on the show, get in touch with us on the socials. We are at DTNS Show on X, formerly Twitter, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, and Mastodon at mastodon.social. For TikTok and YouTube, you can find us at Daily Tech News Show.
Picture this. You're in the garage, hands covered in grease, just finished up tuning your engine with a part you found on eBay, and you realize, you know what? I could also use new brakes. So where do you go next? Back to eBay. You can find anything there. It's unreal. Wipers, headlights, even cold air intakes. It's all there. And you've got eBay Guaranteed Fit. You order a part, and if it doesn't fit, send it back. Simple as that. Look, DIY fixes can be major. Doesn't matter if it's just maintenance or a major mod. You got it, especially when things are guaranteed to fit. So when you dive into your next car project, start with eBay. All the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love.
A reason to buy jewelry? You don't need one. Gift yourself the modern classic piece you've always had your eye on at BlueNile.com. Blue Nile's collection of high-quality diamond jewelry is ready to complement your every look. Show off your elegant taste with a pair of diamond studs, or serve up brilliant style in a traditional tennis bracelet, shipped right to your door. Reward yourself with a piece you've always wanted at BlueNile.com. That's BlueNile.com.
All right, we end every episode of DTNS with some shared wisdom, and today Tim Jar is helping us understand.
Appreciate the rundown on the NVIDIA announcements. I think my head is still swimming a bit, but I appreciate being aware of what's going on with all of that. Is it just me, or will slow down our ability to innovate the new rallying cry for anything that's asked of companies, perhaps closely replacing, but that will cost money?
Yeah, so I was thinking about this a little bit, and I think what came to mind for me on this is that it's actually kind of a smart reframing. If I'm following where you're headed with this, Tim, because when we're talking about, but that will cost money, it's a very kind of like, it implies self-servitude to a certain degree.
Yes.
It's like, we are a company. We don't want to be forced to spend more money than we have to. Please don't make us do it. Versus where we are right now, which we hear all the time, especially in light of this major, kind of progress happening with AI, which is don't stand in the way of innovation. And what that seems to imply is like, what's good for us is good for you too. Like, you don't want to slow us down because we're innovating, and that stands to benefit you as well. So, to a certain degree, it's kind of smart, whether you agree with it or not.
Yeah, this is the thing that I hear a lot, and as being, fortunately or unfortunately, a tech company person. And while it is technically, I think it is like the thing that in the most technical sense, yes, it's true. Yes, it's true. The more we regulate them, the more they will not, the less capable they are able to do new things. But again, it's kind of one of the things that is just, sure, it's just very straight up true, but there's way more nuance, company and personal responsibility and ethics. Yeah. So yes, sure.
Well, thank you, Tim, for sending that in. Thanks to Roger for pitching in today and contributing to the show. And thank you for being along for a Daily Tech News Show. This show is made possible by our patrons. That's probably you on patreon.com/DTNS. DTNS has a live version called DTNS Live on YouTube and Twitch. You can find details on that and so much more on dailytechnewsshow.com. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
The DTNS family of podcasts, helping each other understand.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy to see if you could save when you bundle your home and auto policies. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary, not available in all states.
If you wear glasses, you know how hard it is to find the perfect pair. But step into a Warby Parker store, and you'll see it doesn't have to be. Not only will you find a great selection of frames, you'll also meet helpful advisors and friendly optometrists. Yep, many Warby Parker locations also offer eye exams. So the next time you need glasses, sunglasses, contact lenses, or a new prescription, you know where to look. To find a Warby Parker store near you or to book an eye exam, head over to warbyparker.com/retail.